Here we go, we're in the faction waaagh, and we got GuruSkippy. I don't know what that waaagh was, but, you know, I guess that's the kind of noises that the Orks of GuruSkippy make these days. You know, they're not feeling like they're at their prime. I think he did win a series recently, beat old Rusty Twala Lee. So, faction waaagh, you've got to play one faction only for a best of 3 series. And we're going to be watching first, if I mute this, hold on, there we go. We're going to be watching first GuruSkippy versus Christ. That's Orks versus Eldar on Seraph Palace as well. So I'll probably do a few games after this myself. We shall see.
Ooh, we added to the post, boss.
Very light build from Cry early on here. Only going with that one Guardian. Means that he basically loses all of this part of the map. If he had a second Guardian, this would all be his right now. Because he's having to commit all of his forces to this main fight, obviously fighting against double shooters. Do we see any upgrades yet? No, we don't. So, probably fast storm boys. Nope. Getting the gens up now. So that is suboptimal. I imagine Guru probably wanted to get fast storm boys and feels like there's too much pressure, which is kind of bad, to be honest, given that, you know, Cry has only gone for 2 units. But we'll see. Obviously, if he wanted the double gens, he should have got them up ages ago for optimal players. You know, he waited a very long time to do that. But he probably is going to want the storm boys. Counter the shuriken. He's lucky that he's got commando knobs, so you know that's a soft counter to the shuriken for now. He's not a melee unit, so he's not perfect counter, but you know he can flank the shuriken with the infiltration. There's always the threat of hide the boys as well, especially if Cry is going for double shuriken and not getting any ranges. We might see some ranges after this. We shall have to see. So Guru did pick up big shooters on both of his shooter boys. I'm kind of surprised at that, not gonna lie. I would have thought that he really would have wanted his storm boys out ASAP, get another unit on the field to cap, but really have a proper suppression team counter. I'm quite curious to see if Cry just carries this double shuriken into tier 2 or if he gets ranges as well. I really would expect him to get ranges given how cheap they are by default. I feel like not getting ranges against commando knobs kind of mental. Because, you know, you just risk hide the boys killing you. Good couple of kills on the Banshees there, though. A lot of shooter DPS coming out. We might see a stun bomb onto the shuriken here, and then the shooters can move up and start firing. The commander knob can just force melee as well. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to do that. Gets the flank forces melee. What's going on elsewhere? That shuriken should be forced off. No upgrades yet for the warlock. Yes, and as predicted, we're going to see rangers coming out. So rangers being reworked in this patch. 230 requisition, 20 power makes them super cheap by default, and only 6 pop as well. But in this patch now, they come with pistols and swords for the entire squad. Now, not any long rifles, so no long rifles. But their pistols actually cause a 20% damage resistance debuff. We've got no music, I just realised. Whoops. There you go. A little bit of music. So what happens with this streaming lag? So here you go. Look at these guys. You see the red debuff circles there on the Slugger Boys. And they now have their upgrade, which then gives them the long rifles back. But you'll notice there's 3 long rifles now in the Rangers. So any of you guys who haven't seen this yet, check this out. So because there's 3 long rifles, they obviously distribute their damage amongst more models most of the time, because you can't control which models the Rangers shoot at. I think the DPS is technically higher on these Rangers compared to the old ones, but they tend to bleed less models because the shots are spread out more. And they've changed the firing pattern for the long rifle as well. It now shoots faster, but each shot has less damage. So the effective DPS is pretty similar, but again, just makes it harder to take out models. So it is definitely a ranger nerf. Though technically, these rangers against like tactical marines or something like that in cover will actually do more DPS. But for hit and runs, as you typically do with rangers, these rangers are going to be slightly less effective. Guardian's still running around with 0 upgrades here is a little bit risky. Going to bleed 3 models off them there as Guru, only losing one of his shooter boys. Definitely a good trade for him, but he's got to back out. Map control's looking pretty favourable for Cry. I'm really questioning why Guru hasn't gone for another squad here. I mean, he's going to be struggling with map control so much when he's rocking only 3 units against the 5 that Cry has. Very strange play from him. Now obviously at this point he's quite committed, he wants to get to tier 2 and probably get out stick bombers, I imagine, to help deal with the shuriken, especially since he's floating a good amount of requisition. But the problem is, by the time he gets to tier 2 at this rate, he's going to have lost most of his gens. So let's have a little look here at the ranger DPS against the shooters. So you can see each of those individual shots now is pure garbage. And annoyingly here, one of the rangers isn't even shooting, so they're only doing 2/3 of the damage. But look how fast they fire now. They fire super quick. Now going to rotate and shoot at these shooter boys. I don't think Guru realised there was another setup team in the back protecting. Nice use of Channeling Runes plus Distort Field here. Banshee's easily able to tank the damage from those shooter boys and rout those Orks. I mean, this is looking like a wrap. This is looking pretty brutal. I mean, Guru's going to tier 2. Let's have a look at the eco of Cry. Yeah, Cry actually, wow, Cry is a mile off tier 2. This could actually still be a game. I didn't realise Cry was that far off. I suppose purchasing these channeling runes was really an unnecessary purchase. So I wonder if it'd be worth him trying to steal the generator with the Rangers, maybe, but he doesn't know where Guru's army's gone. All of them clearly at the moment now moving to this side. Guru's got... oh my god, he's fully upgraded both the shooters. I don't know about this build from Guru, I don't like it. Still, he's got a war truck coming out. If he can get the war truck out now and he can get a full gem bash off onto Cry, he could actually be in a good spot. Oh my god, I missed it! Cry lost the Guardian somewhere. Cry is going to be behind in tech tremendously. This could actually be a fantastic opportunity for GuruSkippy. He has to be really careful with this engagement now. If he mispositions, there is potential to be wiped in retreat. Not huge though, because it's only shurikens and rangers, no banshees in retreat. But he really needs to get this gem bash off. Do we have a slugger knob coming yet? Not yet. Guru is too light on power, that's the problem. Where's this truck? It's not even on the field yet. Oh, this is unfortunate. He's not going to be able to actually get the full bash. It's going to get forced off. That really sucks. He's just getting the knob as well and the sluggers. If he could have only waited a little bit of time and the truck was here, that would have been perfect. You know, if Guru had a Death Dread out right now instead of the War Truck, this would basically be GG. But unfortunately for Guru, he doesn't. So this little lead he's got in tech has... yeah, it's getting thrown pretty badly. The War Truck obviously not really achieving a whole lot on its own. And you know, Cry really should have been tier 2 a long time ago, but he made the mistake of dropping the Guardians and then made the mistake of trying to replace them, which he really didn't need to do. He could have replaced them, you know, in tier 2 once he had AV on the field. Guru's going to need to try and get some wipes now, or he's in trouble. He didn't need to retreat there with the sluggers coming in. The Banshees retreated really early. K-Nob would have been fine. He needed more squads in tier 1. I don't know why Guru is playing a free squad tier 1. It's so weird. Especially as the K-Nob, who doesn't put in huge amounts of pressure in late tier 1. Very strange play. Stick bombers now, as expected. I mean, it makes sense. He's floating loads of requisition and he's fighting 2 shurikens without any storm boys, but it's too late. He's already down to 109 VPs, for God's sake. He's lost all the map control. Really tough. I know he's K-Nob, so his support for storm boys isn't amazing, but there was only 1 Guardian, 1 Banshee. I think it would have been fine. If anything, the Storm Boys, you know, they might not win army versus army fights just mindlessly jumping into shurikens, but it's more about the mobility. You poke at the enemies with your big shooters, which have longer range than most guns. You wait for isolated units, and then you hit them with the Storm Boys. Here we go, aiming what's that into stick bombers. Alright, I mean, it forces off the Banshees. As soon as they see them sticks, they hit retreat. And then Slugger Boys should be able to force off the Guardians here. An attempted near spike, a complete failure. Kills 1 Guardian. Not a huge deal. K-Nob has not been putting in a lot of work as well. Only level 1 against Warlock is not ideal. Don't like the channeling runes from the Warlock. I don't really think that's done much. I've only seen it maybe get one attack off. Not one attack, one ability. Oh wow, wipes out Shuriken. Man. Guru needs to replace his gens. He's floating so much requisition. Because he's got all the requisition he needs for tank busters, but to deal with this Wraithlord, but he's got no power. Not sure what these units are waiting for. Probably hoping the War Truck's going to drive away, but I don't know why the War Truck would ever drive away. Maybe that was just a missed micro from Cry's behalf. Now Guru needs to notice and put them in that War Truck, and then they'll be fine. His forces are routed from the mid, so he should realise, why is he using Swamp 'em? Just get him in the truck, Guru. You don't need to use Swamp 'em, bud. Get more gens, Guru. Please. Sluggers might get another wipe on the Shuriken here. That is a pretty bad retreat path. No. Just narrowly avoid it. So the Wraithlord's on the field. It's upgrading to its Bright Lance already, so the War Truck needs to get out of there quickly before this ability comes in. I don't know if Guru's seen it yet. Obviously he does now. Gotta get out of there. I mean, he is going to get out of there. He's got tank busters on the way. Replaces his triple gens. That's good. Unfortunately, just one tank buster is kind of asking a lot out of that unit to take out a Wraithlord. We'll see, we'll see. It is possible if your supporting army really does amazing, but yeah, I don't know. He needs to get the shotgun on the K-Nob as well to deal with these Banshees. These Banshees are putting in a lot of work. Stick Bombers, not really achieving a whole lot as usual. Oh, I guess he actually has the buffed snare on the stun bombs from the Stick Bombers against the Wraithlord. That is like soft AV now. But he's completely missmicroed his War Truck. Let's see, get taken out by the Wraithlord. Big sad. There are tank busters inside of it. I don't know what they were doing. What on earth? But yeah, the Wraithlord just forces melee. Stick Bomb is basically completely countered by channeling runes there. Feels good. And the Wraithlord is massively overcommitting. It should actually die here. It shouldn't be able to get out. I mean, it's going to need support. You do have Banshees coming in, but the Stick Bombers, hilariously, utilising their really high melee skill, just knocking over the Banshees. Stick Bombers are beating the Banshees 1v1. Okay, not quite. The Banshee DPS is now coming through. Okay, there you go. Fuck's sake. They were actually beating them for a moment there. I guess so long as they're triggering specials non-stop, they will win. But yeah, Guru lost Shooter Boys somehow. I don't know. Were they still over here? Where did he lose the Shooters? I'm not even sure. Obviously, he lost the Stick Bombers right there. But he traded them for the Banshees, which is pretty hilarious. No, he didn't. The Banshees are still back at base. What am I talking about? Oh my god. I need to drink more coffee. He traded them for the Wraithlord. But there's no time. There's no time. Calder Boy's coming in, but it doesn't matter. There's nothing capturing the side VP, so this is GG. Honestly, like, Cry made so many mistakes there. That wasn't a very convincing play by Cry. You know, dropping the Guardians, being super far behind in tech. It's just, I don't know. Like, Guru drops the G like it wasn't a good game. I don't really know what's going on here. I don't know what he's thinking. Felt pretty good to me. I feel like Guru, for a moment there, I felt like Guru was definitely ahead. But I don't know why he went for a free unit tier 1. That seems super weird. Against an Eldar that's going for 5 units? I mean, you're asking a lot for your boys. How are we finding the faction war, guys? Have you guys been tuning into a few of these matches? I know Tenso's been on the grind, streaming loads of them, to be honest. Okay. I know it is going to be the Farseer, fair enough. Farseer's gates can be pretty insane on this map. It's such a big map, it's easy to hide away those gates in strange locations. Especially when you combine it with Farsight. So let's see. Going for the same sort of strategy, it appears, for Cry. No second Guardian. I mean, second Guardian, yeah, pretty weak generally against the K-Nob and the Mech Boy. Both of those Orc ranged heroes can bleed them quite a lot. Generally, you do see the second Guardian against the War Boss help focus him down. But War Boss is a funny one because he actually loses by default quite hard against Banshees. Kind of gets thrown all over the place by the specials. He can win it if the Banshees get unlucky with specials, but the problem is that the War Boss can't wipe Banshees if he starts winning the fight, whereas the Banshees can wipe the War Boss. So I don't like taking the fight. Still, 2 Guardians are a lot more common against the War Boss, but we're not seeing a War Boss. We've got the Mech Boy here, so Cry opting for double Banshees, which is going to be interesting. I'm not sure how the power armor of the Mech Boy will fare against Banshees. As far as 5 modelled squads go, Banshees are probably the highest HP of them all. Not to mention, you got to remember that electric armor is slow damage over time, so you can offset it with the heal from the Spirit Stones. I know, Corn. It's crazy, isn't it? A long time no see from yourself as well, Conholio DK. I mean, what are you doing these days? You got your own channel going yourself? Banshee's absolutely wrecking the Sluggers right there. Sluggers with no upgrades, you see, and that is a wipe. And now the Banshees are in melee with the Shooter Boys, killing 3 of them. Not a great engagement there for Guru, that's for sure. And I mean, that doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good. The Banshees, you know, one-on-one, they're more elite than any of these Orc units, so you really want to be outnumbering the Orcs. So to drop your Sluggers right like that, oh, it's not nice. But Guru is going to go for the Storm Boys this time. I guess it makes sense. You've got a big map. They can jump over a lot of these terrain pieces, which is nice. And of course, they've got the natural synergy with the Mech Boy, if he does opt for the battery pack. I actually think battery pack will be better than electric armor here. I don't think electric armor will be very good against Banshees. Too much HP per model. Not to mention, you really don't want your Mech Boy to just walk next to the frigging Banshees. That's not... well, it's very rarely a good idea. So Guru going to replace his Slugger Boys here, which is nice. He'll still have an advantage in terms of unit count. Farsi have been very annoying here, decapping the natural wreck. And this should be where Guru's able to start turning the map control around a little bit. Map control has definitely been in the favour of Cry so far. We've got upgrades for the Guardians. Wow, where has all of Cry's resources gone? He's only got 1 upgrade on the Banshees. He's got an upgrade on the Guardians, nothing on the Farseer. He's dropped triple gens. Guru's only got 1 gen, but Guru, you know, he replaced those Sluggers. So, you know, all things considered, I feel like Guru's economy again is actually okay. It's not in a terrible position in spite of losing those Sluggers. No. Okay, now he's getting some upgrades. He's getting the double big shooter. I'm really quite surprised not to see more units prioritised by both of these players, now Cry in this game. He's got double aspect of fleetness, so it gives him a little bit more HP than the normal aspect of strength, and lets them hop over the cover. Will mean he doesn't have any heavy melee in tier 2, so that could be problematic if he wants to just kill a war truck with haywire grenades and banshees, but I guess he's not concerned about that. I mean, I would be quite concerned about that, to be honest. This is a big map. Killing a war truck, which is the fastest transport if you didn't know, can be very annoying on a big map. But Cry doesn't care. Cry, I guess, just wants to win this in tier 1, so we'll see. Banshees didn't really achieve a whole lot there, but the other Banshees did, forcing off the shooters. It's a bit crap when your shooters are isolated on their own. You kind of want 2 of them together, so they can do their traditional kite, but also they can cycle their aim in what stats. Oh, you're still speedrunning, Con. Yeah, you've been doing that a while, to be fair. I mean, you must be getting pretty damn good at it. I don't know if that's where all the cool kids are these days, though. Come on, man. All the cool kids are speedrunning? You sure about that? I'm gonna be honest, Con. I don't think I've ever seen a cool kid speedrunning. I feel like I see that with, like, charity streams, and that's about it. And usually the speedrunners are just the epitome of nerdy looking men who are underweight and in their late 20s. Well, here we go, we've got the battery pack on the mech boy, supporting the storm boys. They're having a good scrap with the banshees here. The fast here just killed one of them with a special. Yeah, the mech boy needs to teleport out of here. But a lot of DPS going on to the banshees there, pretty nice. Yeah, good little engagement for Guru actually. And you see this time we've got Guru having the 4 units, whereas Cry only has 3. So map control, well, it's still in favour of Cry, but certainly should be a little bit easier for Guru this time around. Now he kind of does need to get a bash off because he is insanely behind in tech, and I don't know how. Oh, right, yeah, Mech Boy's got 3 pieces of war gear. Well, proximity mines are a really interesting choice. We don't see any rangers here, and obviously we see double banshees, which are melee units, so the proximity mines could be a really nice tech piece. Perhaps set a few of them up in retreat path here. I don't think I've even seen him throw any yet. He needs to get a move on and do that. I don't really know what he's doing. He's purchased this war gear, but he's not using it. I mean, it does seem like a really good choice, but bloody hell, it's not a good choice if you don't use the damn thing. Perhaps saving his energy there for the battery pack. I don't know how much energy the proximity mine ability costs to use, but generally a pretty awful engagement. Does he lose the shoot? Oh god, he loses the shooters. Okay. This is GG. This is GG. Guru is too far behind in tech. A Falcon right now is going to be unstoppable. Because he's not even going to be able to get to tier 2 to prevent the gem bash. I mean, in theory, if the techs were even here, the mech boy still is fine. You can get the beamy death gun, get your tank busters, you've got a really good counter to the Falcon, but the problem is he's not even in tier 2, so he's going to lose all of his gens, he's losing all the map. Yeah, he's miles away from tier 2, absolutely no power whatsoever. Big sad. Big sad. I mean, he's still playing it out, but he sees the Falcon now, and what do? You know, he just tried to... Oh no, he didn't actually lose this gen. Yeah, he sees it's GG. He can't counter the Falcon. Too far behind in tech. Indeed, he blew it. That was definitely a more convincing win for Cry, that one. I don't think Guru at any point was in the advantage for that game. But in the first game, man, Guru played fine in the first game. When he actually wiped the Guardians, I think he was actually at an advantage in that first game. But he blew it, boss.